A federal high court has restrained the Independent National Electoral Commission from recognizing the outcome of the forthcoming 2025 National Convention of the People's Democratic Party. And yes, we are finally joined by legal practitioner Tunji Abdulhameed, who will be sharing his thoughts on this. Tunji, thank you so much for staying with us. We lost you connection with you definitely a while ago, but then let's quickly look at it. Now, the PDP convention was halted based on the fact that the party, according to the Federal High Court, did not comply with statutory requirements as regards its constitution and the Electoral Act of the country. But I'd like you to make sense of this in terms of what were the actual infractions.
Yeah, so the infraction has to do with non-conduct of Congress in about 4 states or so. In September 27th of September 2025, the state of the federation, all the states, 33 states, there were congresses of the states to elect people that will run the affairs of the party in the states. But unfortunately, that of Anambra, Imo, Ebonyi, and Cross River was suspended, and therefore they were unable to conduct any congresses.
A legal practitioner, Tunji Abdulhameed, would be sharing his thoughts on this. Hopefully there won't be any technical glitch at this time, Abdulhameed. Thank you so much. So like we were talking earlier, I'd like you to help us understand what the Federal High Court was saying when it said that the PDP party or leadership contravened the requirements of the law, its internal constitution, the constitution of the country, and Electoral Act as regards the convention is meant to hold.
Yeah, thank you for having me back again. The party's constitution and guideline requires that the party must conduct congresses in all states to elect the state ESCOs, those who will pilot the affairs of the ESCO. And that was scheduled to hold that on the 27th of September 2025. However, in 5 states, the exercise was suspended. In Anambra, Imo, Cross River, and Ebonyi, the congresses were not held, and then in that regard, they were not able to elect anybody to represent them. So fixing the convention for November 16 and 17 or 15-16, those affected see it as an attempt to disenfranchise them. In other words, if there's no world congresses and who now participate in the convention, who will vote from the state. So they went to court and said, look, court, the law requires that this must be done. It has not been done. We have not held our congresses, and then they want to go ahead with the convention, which we shut us out in this regard. And the court agreed that, look, you must allow them to participate. You must follow the law than the rules of the guidelines of the party. That is the actual infringement that happened, and that was what the court looked into.
Thanks for the clarification. Now, the court dismissed preliminary objections, arguing that the matter was not an internal party affair. But then, what precedent does this set for, judicial intervention in party affairs under the Constitution and Electoral Act?
What they are saying is that they agree that the court has no jurisdiction to interfere in the internal affairs of the matter. But they made a distinction in this case. They said, look, when you talk about internal affairs, you are talking about dispute around about leadership. Who is the leader, who is not the leader? But when you are talking about infringement of the Constitution, infringement of the party Constitution, infringement of the Nigerian Constitution, infringement of Electoral Act, that is no longer an internal affair. That is an infringement of law. And anybody that's affected has the right to go to court and challenge it. That is what the court is saying. That so there is a difference between internal affair that has to do with I am the chairman, you are not the chairman. They are not looking at the law. They are not looking at it's not us. It has nothing to do with the Constitution. It has nothing to do with the Constitution of the party. It has nothing to do with the Electoral Act. It has nothing to do with the outline. In that regard, that will not be an internal. If it has to do with those areas like Constitution and the Electoral Act, that will not be required. That will not be said to be internal affair. That will be issue of the law and issue of Constitution, and it must be resolved by the court. That's what the court is saying.
Okay,
so there's no the earlier position of the court.
Okay, so how does the shift how does that actually shift the balance between, some sort of autonomy of political parties with dealing with issues like this and state regulation of their processes?
Autonomy in what sense? Autonomy of the party does not mean that a certain individual or members of the party should be sidelined. So every member of the party are all a stakeholder in the party. They all have the right to express their concern and feeling. And the fact that some people have been elected as to run the affair does not make them the alpha and omega of the party, and does not mean that they can do and undo. That's what the court is trying to say. Look, when you have a law, or you have the guideline, or the law says this, you must go by that law. That is what the court is talking about there. It's not interfering in the autonomy of the party. If the party has done the right thing, probably nobody will go to court, and the court will not even intervene in it. And that's what the court is saying, that if you don't want us to intervene, follow the rules of the party, follow the constitution of the party, follow the constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and follow the Electoral Act. And in that regard, we will not intervene. But if you don't do that, you will be forced to intervene in the matter. That's what the court is saying, that in my own interpretation.
Okay, fantastic. So from a structural point of view now, what reforms should be undertaken within political parties and by regulators like INEC to prevent recurrences of such breaches in future conventions?
INEC has nothing. INEC cannot impose anything on the party. It is a party that there are laws that requires what the law requires a party to do whenever they want to take steps is to give INEC notices. And if those notices are not given, INEC will not do anything in that regard. That's the only thing they can do. They cannot say, party, don't do this. It is when they go to INEC to take certain steps that INEC can say, look, you have not complied with this, therefore we will not attend to you. Just like what happened the other time when they say the letter to them was not signed by two required member of the party, the chairman and the secretary, and they refused to attend to it. So that's the only thing they can do. They cannot. I'm happy this happened now, because these people that went to court, they even saved the party from embarrassment. Otherwise, what happened in Plateau State may likely happen thereafter, because you remember in Plateau State there are issues regarding congresses, and the court made an order in that regard. They failed to abide by the order, and they went ahead and contest in that election. And at the end of the day, they won, but the court said, look, there is no foundation upon which you can stand, and that was how they. So if that convention should go ahead, probably we may not even the court may thereafter come and say there was no the party don't have any candidate in all the states, and that would be more embarrassing.
Okay, so as we wrap up on this now, does this court's intervention at this stage, that is before the convention, does it improve accountability in the political party system the way you see it? Because some people are saying that it seems in some way to encourage tactical litigations to disrupt party processes.
How do I answer that now? You see, the court will not on its own intervene in the affair of the party. If a party on their own did not approach the court, the party, when I say party here, I'm talking about the leadership of the party. If they've done the right thing as required by the law, no individual will say, if everybody is carried along, people may not likely go to court to say this. But as long as we refuse to follow the law, we refuse to follow the guidelines, and we want to do it in our own way, just to move everybody together and take over the control of the party, we'll continue to have this, not of this nature. People will continue to go to court and challenge it. There must be transparency, there must be accountability. So maybe probably this kind of decision will help in that transparency and accountability, to answer your question.
Okay, all right. Thank you so much, Tunji Abdulhameed, for sharing your legal perspectives with us on the news.